reminds them to pay attention.
Yeah, I wasn't doing it that way before. I thought I was only supposed to stim when.
Oh, it's a Doberman party.
Stim if she didn't listen to come when I said it before, so I wasn't doing it exactly.
Well, it is, but again, you should be saying come like as your weight's shifting backwards.
Okay.
So you should be able to tell right away if she's listening or not,
Okay.
you know?
Come.
Is it okay if she looks at him?
She looks at the dog,
Yes,
as long as it's a nice relaxed.
as long as it's not.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you can't see the front of the dog.
yeah.
You know, and that doesn't look too relaxed. He looks sort of relaxed, but
Yeah, I mean, I look at the top of the head a lot. You know, the top of the head can tell you quite a bit as far as how much tension there is there, where the ears are being carried. That can really tell you a lot. She's actually looking pretty relaxed right now.
except her little ears are back.
Yeah, but they're
With
not
her, I
forward,
don't
right?
usually, I don't usually, just gonna stop for a second so I can blind things. I don't usually obsess about like the little minutiae detail, but with her I do, because when I first started with her, she would have the calmest look on her face. You know, she's like polar opposite, and that's when it would come.
Yeah.
You know, so like any other dog gave that look, I'd be like, oh, cool, fine, we're good to go, but not her.
Yeah.
So I tend to really study what she's telling me with her body,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's going to be different than what I've experienced with other
But
dogs.
ears back, like it's way less likely if her ears are back that she's going to then aggress forward,
Okay.
as opposed to her ears being carried forward and
Okay.
up. You know, so ears back might mean she's like being cautious,
Yeah.
but it's not as likely that she's going to go from that into a lunge.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they're not like pinned back totally. Like she
Yeah.
looks relatively relaxed, which is a good thing.
Her eyes and her forehead look fine.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Even when she's been looking, she's been
That's
alright.
what's tricky though.
So come forward again. And then back. Good.
I like that she was checking out the shelf right there.
Good. Now, I probably wouldn't do a pass by in here, only because now if we're passing and she starts to fixate, we've got nowhere to go, right? And believe it or not, just the presence of this wall can cause a different reaction than if this wall were not here for her, because there's no escape route, and we know that. The other thing is, bears mentioning, when I'm doing pass bys, again, you'll get different people that feel differently about this. I always want, so if I'm working the dog on my left, I want to pass that the other dog also passes on my left. Okay? Some people say you want to be between the dogs. There is some truth to, if you're between the two dogs, it may help the dog feel more comfortable because you're kind of a buffer there. That's not false by any means. However, I'm looking at training. I'm looking at what needs to happen. If dog's on my left and Ziva's going to pass here, and my dog decides to react, where's she going to go? Right across the front of my body. I could trip and fall, right? It could be a very not pretty picture. Also, if she wants to lunge that way and I need to try and restrain her, I have to restrain her out like this. Not easy to do, right? These muscles back here, not very strong, okay? If you want proof of that, go to the gym, see how much you can bench press, and then see how much you can lay on your stomach and pull back like this. It'll be dramatically different, okay? The other thing is, again, we may need to give her space. We may need to step away from Ziva and call her that way. Got a dog in my way here. So now, in order to do that, with good timing, I've got to try and get around her over to the other side and then recall, right? So if I'm here, now if she lunges, it's away from me. I'm not going to trip and fall. I can brace myself against it. If I need to restrain her, it's in here. I've got forearm, bicep, shoulder, chest. Very strong muscles, right? Especially on me. And if I need to recall, I'm right here to recall. Like I can just step away and recall her to me. So from a functional standpoint, it's much better to have the dog passing on the same side as my dog.
I've always done the opposite, but that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, and what it does mean though, because there is some truth, like I said, having the buffer, it may just mean that I need a little bit extra space. To me, that's a worthy trade-off. The advantages I get by passing here are so worthwhile if I just need a little bit of extra room. Now, if I'm in a scenario where I can't get that extra room, then I may position myself differently to try and create that buffer. I definitely see dogs where we're walking, here comes another dog, they're uncomfortable, there's a wall here, and then my dog crosses behind me to get in that position, and I'll allow that. I won't stop him from doing that. If that makes him feel more comfortable, by all means, and then we're good, and I'm just ready in case. But I have to be prepared and know that they could cross behind me and then lunge and whip around, and now my arm's going like this. So you want to be ready for that. I want to be ready for the fact that they may just dart off that way again. Just be prepared for what could happen in those scenarios. Okay? So,
what if in that scenario, what if you just have your dog sit? Because now you can control your dog.
yeah, you can certainly do that too.
Okay.
Yeah, you can certainly do that too. Again, having
Don't
to
you
go
find
the
that if the dog sits, it just builds up that focus more?
depends on the
than
dog.
moving?
Yeah, it depends on the dog. Highly reactive dogs, yeah, sitting still is really tough for them.
It used to do that to Shana.
Yeah.
Now it seems like she's mellowed out.
Yeah, less reactive dogs, sometimes when they're sitting, they're less likely to react, so it kind of varies. We try to also have clients learn to be strategic. Like, if I'm walking, and let's say where the purple wall is a building, and before that building there's like parking lot space, and I see another dog coming, I'm gonna adjust my speed such that I'm passing that dog where I still have parking lot, and I'm not passing that dog where there's building, because I'm putting myself in a crappy predicament.
Yeah.
If it's just buildings, and parked cars, I'm probably gonna turn and go the other way or cross the street if the dog's not ready yet to cross in that kind of proximity. Again, there's always gonna be some level of management in the interim as you're going through training. There's no need to try and jump into every situation right away. You're gonna stress yourself out. But yeah, you definitely want to learn to be strategic about the environment. Space is your asset when you're dealing with reactive dogs. Space is your biggest asset. So,
How long has I was going to ask you a question about Shana and human aggression, but then I noticed the dog over there. How long has he been standing there? Because
quite a while.
Shana looked and growled over there, and I assumed it was because Kevin? Ross, sorry.
Close though.
Stuck out his foot, so I thought she was reacting to that, but I'll still ask the question. Okay. I thought, but if she does growl, so my immediate response to her growling over there, because I do this, was just, no, come in and correction right away. In your method, would you I think you would do it differently, wouldn't you?
Well, so yes and no. Actually, why don't you bring Ziva back over there, and why don't you bring Shana